Rapper Nicki Minaj was the apparent target of a swatting call last night at around 7 p.m. The LA County Sheriff's Department received a call claiming an assault with a deadly weapon had occurred at the Grammy winner's Hidden Hills residence. The caller claimed somebody had shot a black female adult, and two suspects wearing all black were still on the property.
Y'all, something dark is going down behind the scenes, and Nicki Minaj is caught in the middle of it. Armed men outside her home, SWAT team raids, mysterious 911 calls, and now she's vanished with her entire family. What's really going on? Because it's starting to look less like random chaos and more like a deliberate setup. Some fans say it's karma. Others are convinced she's being hunted by the industry. But what if I told you this might be bigger than anyone thought? Nicki Minaj isn't just fighting rumors anymore. She's literally running for her life, jumping from place to place, keeping her family close, and dropping cryptic messages like breadcrumbs for her fans to follow. And trust me, we've followed. Because when a superstar starts talking about being silenced, exposing industry elites, and hinting at a mole inside her own team, you know something sinister is going down. It all came to a boiling point when Nicki's mansion became the target of multiple SWAT calls. Not once, not twice, but 3 separate times in the span of a year. One call claimed she had been attacked. Another accused her of harming her son. And the most recent, someone claimed there was gunfire coming from her property. But here's the kicker. None of it was true. These weren't just prank calls. This was straight up swatting. And if you don't know how dangerous that is, let me break it down. Swatting is when someone falsely reports a violent crime to the police to get a SWAT team sent to your house. And when that team rolls up, they're not playing games. One wrong move, and someone innocent could lose their life. And we're talking about Nicki Minaj here, a mother, a wife, a global superstar. Imagine if the police had stormed in and mistaken her for the armed suspect in that fake report. Imagine if her 4-year-old son had been caught in the middle. This isn't just dangerous, it's calculated. But who would do this, and why? Well, Nicki thinks she knows. Now, before you go brushing this off as just another celeb meltdown, let's not forget, this isn't the first time Nicki's made headlines for calling out powerful people. She's been naming names. From Megan Thee Stallion to Jay-Z and even Desiree Perez, Nicki's been breaking the unspoken rules of the industry, and that comes with a price. Back in June 2023, one of the first swatting incidents hit her home. The call accused Nicki and her husband of inappropriate behavior with their child. Disgusting, right? The police rolled up, sirens blaring, flashing lights, all while Nicki stood there stunned, wondering how this could be happening. Then, just a month later, it happened again. Another false report, another police raid. This time they said Nicki had been shot. It was all fake. At this point, Nicki stopped trusting the authorities. And honestly, can you blame her?
When y'all have an affiliation to Jay-Z in some sort of way, y'all be thinking that y'all can disrespect and violate.
She hired her own team to investigate, and they found the swatter in days, literally days. Meanwhile, the police had been investigating for months and came up with nothing, which made fans and Nicki herself wonder if maybe the police were being paid to look the other way. And then she named the woman Stephanie Bell. Nicki tweeted directly at her, "To the woman who made those swatting calls to my house. Was it worth it, Dumbo?" Stephanie Bell, a warrant is in the system. Great detective work. So grateful the DA filed 1 count for the swatting call and 1 for the false report to DCFS. To God be the glory. That's when it got even scarier. Because if Stephanie wasn't acting alone, then who was behind her? Nicki's fans started piecing things together. The timing, the attacks, the way everything intensified after she began clapping back at industry elites. She started tweeting, without filter, about Jay-Z and Desiree Perez, a name that sends shivers down anyone in the music biz. Desiree, you gotta let it go, baby. The world knows she's ass and can't rap. Stop trying to make fetch happen number Bigfoot, y'all. Who even dares to speak like that about Rock Nation? Well, Nicki did, and now she's convinced there's a mole inside her team.
Be violent with her. And she always brings up the story as a little girl. I would stand in front of my mother and go like this. And I vowed, like, that's why I'm, like, maybe some people would describe me as abrasive or bitchy or whatever, because I vowed from that age, no man would ever abuse me, call me out my name, treat me like that. And then all of a sudden, that was my life.
YouTuber Storm Monroe dropped some heavy tea right after Nicki was arrested in Amsterdam during her Pink Friday 2 tour. According to him, her arrest wasn't random. It was a setup. Someone in her circle had allegedly been feeding info to Rock Nation, and they were waiting for the right time to strike. And what better time than overseas, where she had no protection? According to sources, Rock Nation had been gunning for her ever since she released her controversial song, Bigfoot. The song was seen as a direct jab at Megan Thee Stallion, who, by the way, is signed to Rock Nation. See the connection now? And apparently they didn't just want to cancel Nicki, they wanted to bankrupt her, which explains why the headlines suddenly started claiming she was broke and desperate for tour money. She's even said herself they've been trying everything they possibly can to try to stop this tour. From stolen luggage to canceled flights to security teams who mysteriously didn't show up. Everything started to look like sabotage, and it wasn't just the haters from the outside, it was coming from within. According to Nicki, her own manager had been stealing from her. She said she found out that people were secretly adding $30,000 to $50,000 on top of her private jet bookings and pocketing it for years. Not only that, but her tour manager was also allegedly doing the same thing. So she fired them. And guess what happened next? Suddenly her tour started getting sabotaged. Delayed flights, customs drama, luggage gone missing. Her show in Amsterdam canceled after her surprise arrest. Nicki posted, "They took my luggage and when I asked where it is, they said it's on the plane. It couldn't have been. I just pulled it. They're being paid big money to try to sabotage my tour because so many people are mad that it's this successful." You can literally feel the paranoia, but also the truth in her words. Because this isn't just Nicki ranting on Twitter. This is a woman who feels hunted, betrayed by her team, ignored by the police, and targeted by powerful people who don't want her to speak out. But Nicki isn't backing down. She relocated to New York recently, and when she posted a video of her new view, fans immediately noticed the buildings in the background. Some even said she was baiting the people coming after her, daring them to try again. And honestly, that's iconic, but it's also terrifying. Because if the rumors are true, and someone inside her team really was working with the very people Nicki's been exposing, then she's been in way more danger than we even realized. Let's talk about the 911 tapes. Because if you thought the story couldn't get darker, these recordings will make your jaw drop. The person who made the call to the police didn't just casually mention some noises or a suspicious person. They dramatically claimed that Nicki had been shot by a friend and was lying unconscious with multiple wounds in her own home. That kind of lie? It's designed to provoke violence. Imagine this, a heavily armed SWAT team bursting into Nicki Minaj's home, guns drawn, expecting a shooter on the loose, only to find a scared woman and her toddler. It's not just traumatizing, it's life-threatening. That one fake call could have turned her home into a crime scene, and someone planned it that way. What makes it worse is that the call wasn't even made from a personal line. It was dialed from a business line, something way harder to trace.
Note in my door?
A business yes, I got your voicemail, sir. Yeah, it's just an anonymous complaint that I got through online, and it was specifically unit number. But if you're saying there's no issues with the neighbors or anything like that, then we should be good to go.
So what was the complaint?
It was something about something about social media as well. It was a very general complaint, and I don't even know what the other party's name is. It was a general name, so it's a very general complaint. I just went and door knocked hoping to speak to you, but I'm glad I have you on the phone. But there's no immediate threat to anyone or anything like that.
No, it's not. When did they leave that anonymous complaint?
Let me see here. It's probably fairly new because I just got it. They find out where individuals live, and then they just call and say someone needs help, and then the resident has no idea what's happening. Not sure if there's any disputes or differences with anyone, but just so you know, they are sending...
Almost like the person knew what they were doing. Almost like they'd done it before. And if that's not suspicious, I don't know what is. So why hasn't the police actually done anything? Because this wasn't even the first swatting incident at Nicki's house. She's been swatted at least 3 times in the past year, and yet authorities still can't find the culprit? Yeah, fans aren't buying it, and neither is Nicki. She's been vocal about how little effort the police have put into protecting her and her family, despite the clear pattern of harassment. And if she was able to uncover Stephanie Bell jail in a few days, then why haven't the cops pressed harder? Unless they don't want to. And here's where things go full-on conspiracy mode. Because some people truly believe that this whole setup, the swattings, the tour sabotage, the arrests, is part of a bigger plot to shut Nicki up, to control her, or worse, erase her. Think about it. Nicki Minaj is one of the very few women in the music industry with a mainstream platform and the guts to expose what really goes on behind the scenes. She's called out executives. She's clapped back at labels. She's even hinted at child exploitation, sabotage, and the abuse of Black female artists. She's dangerous to the people in power. And when powerful people feel threatened, they start playing dirty. We've seen this before, celebrities getting mysteriously canceled, framed, or erased when they start speaking out. So when Nicki's own team starts leaking her tour schedules, when her own manager is accused of stealing from her, and when she keeps getting arrested in countries with no solid cause, it stops looking like coincidence. It starts looking like a takedown. Let's not forget what happened in Amsterdam. Nicki was supposed to kick off her Pink Friday 2 European tour with a huge performance, and instead, she got detained at the airport. For what? Allegedly possession of some kind of illegal substance. But she wasn't even allowed to check her own bags before they were confiscated. And right when her arrest was trending, guess what? Her team was silent. Ghost. Nicki said, "They've been trying to stop me from coming to every show. They took my bags before I could see them put it on the plane. This is what it looks like when people are paid big money to try to sabotage a tour." She also dropped another bomb, saying her tour manager and jet booking staff were allegedly stealing $30,000 to $50,000 from her every time she flew. For years. Y'all, who else could know her travel plans, her shows, her hotel bookings, and tip off the authorities or sabotage her set lists? Only people on the inside. So if there's a mole in her circle, Nicki's never been more vulnerable. But here's the real question everyone's asking now. Is Nicki safe anywhere? Because even after escaping the Amsterdam incident and firing people left and right, Nicki keeps moving. She recently relocated to a new luxury apartment in New York City. And when she posted a video showing off the view, fans immediately picked up on landmarks in the background. She wasn't hiding her location. In fact, she seemed to be sending a message. It's like she was saying, "I'm not scared. I know what y'all are trying to do, and I'm still here." Some fans praised her bravery while others begged her to stay low, stay safe, and stop posting anything that could expose her whereabouts. One fan commented, "Nicki just bought that home not long ago. Her moving from place to place won't change anything. Someone is out to get her. I rebuke that. I pray God keeps her and her child safe from all harm." Another added, "People who do swatting and false police reports should be prosecuted to the fullest. What if someone's child gets hurt? This ain't a game." And it's not. Because while this may seem like typical celebrity drama, this is a life. A mother, a wife, an icon. Being hunted, silenced, and violated by strangers, former friends, or even powerful enemies. And at the center of it all, a woman who refuses to back down. Nicki Minaj has never played by the rules. She's never bowed down to the gatekeepers. And whether you love her or hate her, one thing's for sure, she's fighting harder than ever to protect herself and her son. So where does this leave us? Right now, there's still a lot of mystery. Who exactly is behind the swattings? Was it really Stephanie Bell alone? Or was she just a pawn? Has Nicki found the mole in her team yet? And more importantly, what's coming next? Because if history has taught us anything, it's that when people try this hard to silence someone, it's because that person knows too much. Nicki's not just fighting off stalkers or obsessed fans anymore. She's playing defense against a whole system that wants her gone. And she's doing it with cameras rolling, a mic in her hand, and millions of people watching. Whether she's exposing Roc Nation, calling out corrupt tour managers, or blasting false narratives, Nicki isn't afraid to put it all out there. And maybe that's exactly what they're afraid of. So the next time you see a headline about Nicki losing it or being paranoid, you might want to look deeper. Because beneath all the glitz and Instagram filters is a woman who might be fighting the battle of her life. And if she's right, and they really are trying to take her out, then we better start paying attention before it's too late. So, what do you think is really happening to Nicki Minaj? Are these just coincidences? Or is there a real plot to take her down? Is there a deeper conspiracy behind the arrests, the swattings, and the betrayals? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this story is far from over. And don't forget to click here for more insane celebrity drama that'll leave you shook. Stay safe, stay smart, and stay messy, y'all.